parents claim to be plagued by Princess Elsa, they really just mean that their children won't stop talking about the movie Frozen, or that they've had to listen to the music non-stop for the past 6 years, or both. That's not the case, according to a Houston mother, who claims that Elsa has literally and unsettlingly haunted her family. A singing Elsa doll was given to Emily for Christmas in 2013, and for the first few years, it did precisely as it was supposed to. It recited language from the film and sang "Let It Go" when a button was touched on her necklace. The doll then began to speak in both English and Spanish, which was odd because the mother couldn't locate a switch that would have allowed her to alter Elsa's language. She thought perhaps there was something strange about the doll and she should just toss it away when it began to sing after the power switch was turned off. It failed to work. Elsa reappeared inside a wooden seat in the living room some days after she had been taken out with the rest of the trash. Since they wouldn't have combed through the trash outside, I believed the youngsters when they insisted they didn't put anything there. She reattempted. As the mother stated on Facebook, "We tightly wrapped it in its own garbage bag and put that garbage bag inside another garbage bag, filled with other garbage, and put it in the bottom of our garbage can, underneath a bunch of other bags of garbage, and wheeled it to the curb, and it was collected on garbage day." The family spent a few days away from home, but when they returned, the cursed doll was once again in their yard, casually leaning against the house. Because her kid had drawn on the Elsa's plastic limbs with markers, the mother claims there is no doubt that it is the same Elsa. She wrote, "Help me get rid of this haunted doll. Even for those with vast experience with this type of thing, this Elsa is quite horrifying if Madonna isn't attempting some kind of useless trick. Not all haunting dolls behave in this manner. This is what we would call a trouble ghost, or perhaps a malicious force." Cat Blowers from Arizona examines haunted objects carefully and rehomes haunted dolls. Cat Blowers asserts that a majority of haunted objects are occupied by departed spirits who are hanging on, perhaps because they still have unresolved business to take care of in the terrestrial realm. "We frequently come across doll vessels, jewelry, and even paintings that are possessed by ghosts that are unable to let it go," she said. This Elsa doll has an entity attached that either needs aid because the spirit within is clinging to the living in hopes that someone will keep loving them and paying attention to them, or the spirit is seeking someone who can help them cross over, says the author. Or, and this is excellent news for the family, there's also a worst-case scenario that involves the type of evil force she alluded to. It could be a demon, but it's more likely and more typical that it's the result of a negative event, such as a rape, murder, or other trauma, and that energy has stuck to the doll's vessel. Cat Blowers claimed that the family could have used a K2 EMF, electromagnetic field, meter, a pendulum, or a dowsing rod to establish whether the doll is haunted, because each of those tools is thought to react to objects that contain ghosts. "Nothing is more significant than the gut instinct," she added. "You'll have the impression of interacting with a real person rather than a doll. You'll have a sense of company. Sharing space or doing anything else with the doll didn't exactly excite the family." They boxed up Elsa after she appeared in the yard and sent her to a friend in Minnesota, who immediately taped her to the Jeep's brush guard. In a subsequent Facebook post, she claimed that the man had requested the doll. Cat Blowers said the family should have been in touch with a spiritual intuitive, a member of the local paranormal club, or someone who could have done a house blessing to facilitate the spirit's transition from this world to the next. That energy will eventually return to the family, in my opinion. When it returns, as I believe it will, they need to bless and sage their home and perform a ritual cleansing, explained Blowers. The man who has the ghost tied to his truck is in for a rough time if it's a demon or other seriously evil thing. The family's home should be cleansed, a priestess or shaman should be called in, and the truck driver requires a protection ceremony. In a very strange way, the entire incident might serve as a lesson for the affected family, anyone who believes they may possess a physical object that contains another person's spirit, and the unhaunted who still have their feet firmly planted in this world. Energy is everything, and in this situation, it is visible and tactile, according to Cat Blowers. Perhaps Elsa's scenario will demonstrate the value of energy and the necessity of maintaining a bright, upbeat attitude in order to avoid this circumstance occurring to a person after death. In addition, no one's spirit ought to wind up being attached to the front of a stranger's Jeep.